Good night, and welcome to Mindful Life 526. I am your co-host, Nathan Springer, joined by host number 2, Neraya Naya Springer. Tell the people hello. Tell the people hello. That would be Niece Kylie. Niece, what you think of the slap that the youth man collected? It seems very well deserved. Imagine if the gas dragon deal did really go through, yes? What's a post? What's a post? You smiling with the people? Yeah? What do you have to tell the people? What you have to tell the people? It is so bad in the school. What is really going on in the homes? Well, yes, but a lot of those children aren't really taken care of seriously at home, so there isn't much to go on in the home, really and truly. Hey, you're tampering with equipment, host. Hey, host, you're tampering with equipment. Hey, all right, tell the people bye-bye, and let's go. Tell the people bye-bye. Bye. All right, give that a kiss. No kisses? You giving daddy a kiss? No kisses for daddy. All right, I'll tell you people later. Have a good night, and I'm going. I like that. Bye. Ronnie, look at it. Ronnie, you come when the second host leaving. Do you suppose the position that parents should be held accountable in some way? 100%. 100%. You are supposed to be accountable for your child. I think that should be a given. This generation grew up differently from us. Fact. Yes, Ronnie, you came in on the tail end of the day. She could come in and tell you hi again. Come. Come tell Tanty Ronnie hi. Tanty Ronnie. Say hi, Tanty Ronnie. Hi, Tanty Ronnie. Hi, Tanty Ronnie. Hey, stop touching equipment. Hey. Give me a 5. Yes, she is, Ronnie. Yes, she is. Most certainly. Yeah. This generation did grow up differently, yes. And I think it should be a given that parents should be responsible for their children's actions. I think that should be an obvious given. Like, who else would be responsible? Listen, some teenagers just bad, Nathan. I kinda agree. We aren't the parents of this generation. You, the parents of this generation, you're talking about would actually be Gen X. You're talking about Gen X parents. And the idea that children are raising children, I don't necessarily fully agree with that, because the age of people making children is actually raising. Some of these monsters you see out there, it's not like their mothers are 18, 19, 20. Many of their parents well into their 30s and 40s and 50s. Well up there. And they're still doing what they're doing. I don't even think it's a matter of children raising children as such really anymore. At a certain age, you can't blame parents anymore. I agree. But then at that age, they have to hold all the responsibility on their own. But if that age is 18, and you're telling me I can't blame the parent for what the child does at 16, so then who is responsible for what this child does? If we can't blame the parent because the child is just bad, but we can't yet hold the child responsible because they're still a child and we say they aren't yet responsible for all of their actions, then who do we hold responsible? And here's the thing for me. I understand that there may be some bad children, but I think it's still on the parents to hold them responsible. Whatever needs to happen to your bad children so that they don't harm people needs to happen. The example I've made before and I regularly make. If it is that people are personally held responsible for their dog's action, if your dog is a bad dog, it's just a bad dog, you try your best, you carry them disciplinary training and whatever, the dog jump the gate and bite somebody's child. You know, you being held responsible for your dog. So how you telling me your dog could bite my child and you held responsible, but if your child beat up my child, you not held responsible? That don't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Akna Air says there isn't enough emotional intelligence being taught. I don't know if I agree with that because I'm not certain exactly what emotional intelligence means in this context. I've seen many people speak about emotional intelligence, and I've seen many differing and varied answers and views as to what exactly emotional intelligence is when people are referring to this. What exactly do you mean by this emotional intelligence? What exactly is that? Need to go back to old time days, let the woman be home taking care of the children, and well, Abdul, you're not getting no argument from me here. You all know where I stand on that.
Hello.
Hey, Ronnie.
Good night, Nathan.
Good night.
Not to take away from my topic, but I wanted to change the topic a little bit.
Go ahead.
You have finished making your point.
All right, well, yeah, I agree. We need to revert somewhat to some more classical styles of parenting because it seems obvious to me. Yeah, go ahead.
So, hi everybody. Good night. Just to add a little bit to your point before I change it, I agree. Older parents make lazy parents. I've seen it for myself. That's why I end up with top children, because they don't want the child crying, they don't want the child to bother them. Go and watch TV, go and use your tablet, blah 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 blah. Very lazy parenting. Anyway, back to what I wanted to talk about. So for the last few Tuesdays, we've been talking about socialism and da. Nobody cares about that anymore. You'll kill us with that. So we're gonna go back to the good old man bash. We're not bashing no man here. But I was on a live, I think it was Sunday or something like that, I can't remember when it was. And they were like doing this dating kind of thing, right? So they was like, oh, we wanna date or whatever. They're doing some kind of date something. I don't know how that is on TikTok, which is weird to me. But nonetheless, we reach. And somebody had made the point of saying, you know, but right now I'm talking to like a few different women, like we just talking. And I am of the opinion that you shouldn't really talk to more than one person at that time. I mean, you talk to one person and you move on if you do it, right? And during the course of the week, I had the same conversation with a young lady that I work with, and she's just like, she was like asking me if I would date or if I'll be interested in dating a guy who have like children and things, because remember, I don't want to marry no man with children. So if I don't want to marry no man with children, I want to talk to that man with a child. Yeah? And she was like, well, you're talking to him, like he might be treating you nice or whatever. And this is my thing. Why would you entertain it in the first place if that's not where you want to go?
I 100% agree there. I 100% agree with that. And I think lots of people, you see, the host arguing in the background. Nisi, you're next one. You missed the debut of the second host, nah man, Nisi. But yeah, I agree, and I think some of that. Yes, I hear you, Gil. I think some of that came about because of the whole dating prospect. Because the original idea of courting. You're courting for the idea that I'm going to marry this person. But then with the modern context of dating, with the modern context of dating, many people aren't dating with the idea of this lasting till life as a marriage was supposed to. They're dating with the idea of this is something to do in the meantime. So it doesn't matter if this person doesn't check all of my boxes, because I'm not looking to spend forever with them. Now, I think that is a recipe to always get a bad relationship, because you're going to end up with people that you didn't really want in the first place because you didn't care too much. So it's a side effect of the modern dating style, but it's also kind of expected. Now, as for talking to more than one person at the same time, I have no problem with that. The problem is that some people say talking and it's a euphemism for something else. They don't really mean talking, because talking to multiple people is a very good thing. That's a good idea. You have multiple friends, especially if you're a single person. As they say, single and ready to mingle, you're mingling. And if you hold people in the friend zone, I regularly tell youth men, the friend zone is a good place to be in a youth. Once you know what you're doing, brother, the friend zone is a lovely place to launch your attack from. I'm just saying. So you have multiple people chilling in the friend zone. Get to know people now, boy. Get to know some people. Talk to people. Lime without the added pressure that we trying to impress each other in romantic interest. We just chilling, we just talking. I get to see the real you, and I see, oh gosh, you're huggish bad boy. I can't live with that. Dive out. But we talk for a little while. We talk long enough for me to recognize you're huggish. So you just get a X, although I ain't delete you or block you or anything, we just talk. I'll catch you next week when we talking geopolitics. Relationship topics are overdone online. So Ronnie wants to talk relationship because she fed up with the politics, and people want to talk politics because they fed up with the relationship.
Well, you'll see, all you just get all the relationship topics and talking thing from other people who talk nonsense. You understand? I fed up see people talk nonsense about politics. Fed up. So
but here's the thing. I actually think they're very closely linked.
What's that?
Relationships, gender, and politics. They're very, very closely linked. And a lot of the relationship issues we are seeing in modern time does have a political side to it. The idea of feminism is a political idea, and feminism may be the ideology that has had the most effect on modern dating in recent times. The idea of free sex, the idea of liberating sex, that's a political idea. The people that came up with those ideas were doing it with political interests. It's not an unpolitical thing when you're dealing with gender. They're all part of the same stew. And I think, Ronnie, women generally prefer more social topics, while men prefer more political topics. Might that be an argument for women not to vote? Anyway, Kylie wanted to say something.
No, that's not true. I like political topics, but oh God, we do it week after week after week after week.
That shows you don't have the same, I'm not saying you don't like it, you don't have the same appetite. You don't have the same appetite as men. Men will talk about politics every day, day in, day out, and they don't mind. They wake up the next day and talk the same thing again. After a while, the women like, oh gosh, we have to get some other kind of... Yeah, man.
So if we continue across,
you jump in now, man.
As how time goes along, everything changes. You know that, right?
Yeah.
We grew up in a different time into this trend nowadays.
True.
Right? These kids and them have no self-respect for themselves and to others. When we was growing up, Nathan, Right? When we walk in the road to go to school, and you have to say morning and good evening to each and every neighbor that you see in the road.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And if you don't say that, it's mixing with him. Now, corporate punishment, to me, corporate punishment have to come back in schools, right? In order to put a stop to this system what's going on right now.
I think I wouldn't doubt the putting of police in schools is a kind of step in that direction in a sense. And the fact I think we're going to hear, and I want to hear more police come out and speak about their experiences. Because if we hear the report from police who deal with pests out there, and then they go in the school and have to deal with these students, and you hear the report from police, you'll get a nice gauge of where the school system is at. It's a scary place.
Correct. As you're talking about the police and them in school, right? That same individual was telling me this evening about that same incident what happened in that school, that certain school, right? And she not on that. The person woke up to she like if they want to lash it.
And listen, it's the first week of school. This is the
first week and she's a police. Imagine that. She's a police.
The fourth day in the first week, and students already contesting to beat up police in school. The school is at a stage, and that's why I agree with holding parents responsible to go back there. Yes, Ronnie, we going back there. To go back there, I 100% agree with holding parents responsible because they are responsible. It's your child. Here's the thing. For me, I want to be 100% responsible for my child. I do not want no government to have a say in what goes on with my child. I want that responsibility. Give it to me. And on the flip side, I think those who trying to dodge the responsibility, you should still give it to them because it's your child. Who else is going to be responsible for your child? That's my question to anyone that says maybe we shouldn't hold the parents directly responsible for things their children do. To anyone that says that, my question is, who do we then hold responsible for the child, if not the parents? Hi, Smooth DJ. I feel like I'm going to be a dictator.
And you will get that answer next week when we reach back to the show. Next week. Because we did that this week, self. We talk about that.
Well, that's the nature of life. There's no new thing under the sun. You would notice. You know what's really interesting? You look at if you read some old books, you go and read a book from 3,000 years ago, a story from 3,000 years ago, and you recognize the human condition. The human condition has kind of always been the human condition. We've kind of always been struggling with the things we've been struggling with. So relationship problems, they were there from all along. And they're still here, and they're very likely going to remain here. The Smooth DJ, sir, just send a request. All of that isn't necessary. But yeah, the relationship problems, would remain. And as for the solution, relationship solution, there's no solution, you think?
No, well, I was going further into like that whole, what is it, illusion of choice or I think now a lot of, so the same girl who was like, oh, you should just entertain them until something better comes along, and I was like, it's always good when you find something better, but what if they find something better? Won't you feel discarded and used? You know,
well, I think that's a different kind of thing. I am talking about being friends with people. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about talking.
People have lost the art of being friends.
Exactly.
Because you're friends, and all of a sudden, midnight, one past midnight, and you're getting on one view. All of a sudden, your friends turn into a different type of friend. The demons just come out.
Well, it's on everybody to maintain the level of friendship. You guys on you maintain that level and make sure they bat in the crease. But I tell this to young men. I regularly tell this to young men. Listen, you have no idea how much game you're giving yourself by just learning how to be a girl's platonic friend. If you could genuinely come and talk to a girl and she ain't sense no kind of tracking in the undercurrent, you just really come and build a conversation, talk about something, talk about the weather and the road and the fruits and the trees and whatever, and then you leave the conversation having shared a nice conversation. So you're building game right there. Every conversation don't have to be a track. Come on, fellas, we better than that. You could elevate higher than that. And I agree with that. But I also say I agree with multiple friends. That makes sense. Friends. I don't mean this euphemistically. I don't mean any kind of shit friends. Where's the Abdul? Well, Abdul, you talking about... There was once upon a time a brethren that was given the nickname Lapser Snatcher. The Lapser Snatcher nickname was given because if you lapse, he snatch. That is Lapser Snatcher behavior you talking about there, where you're sitting in the wings as a friend, but really and truly what you waiting on is the vulnerable moment. I'll be a shoulder for you to cry on.
Okay, then. But I don't know about being any friend zone thing. That's a prison escape outside our friend zone, I must say.
No, for women it's a prison escape. If a man doesn't like you at all and put you in the friend zone as a woman, it is unlikely, in my view, this is just my opinion, it is unlikely that you're going to climb into the full relationship zone. If you try too hard, you might just be used. But as a fella, that's not a very hard... Listen, many... In fact, I think most marriages, beside the last 10 years where social media and dating websites have taken over, most marriages are people who started off as friends. How you think relationships started in history? Unless you're talking arranged marriage. It's not like everybody, you just saw them, I like you, let me go on a date now. No, it's somebody you meet in work and all they sit in cubicles next to each other and you all giggle. Like you all never watch The Office and Pam and what is his name by?
They eating lunch together.
Abdul, come on now, man.
You're not two doubles say for breakfast.
I just said I was all my coworkers. I never want to date none of them.
That you. But I'm not talking from the woman's perspective. I'm talking from a male perspective. I don't tell you, if the man put you in the friend zone because he don't like you, it's a real hard scene, don't fight it. But
I think I don't know, I haven't been there. I don't have much male friends anymore.
Why?
One views really mess up your friendship.
What is that?
One views really mess up your friendship.
What is one views? I don't understand what you're talking about there.
You don't know it's not one view, Nisa? You're really married, right?
I not living that life.
Hello. Hi, Lily.
Say hello.
Yeah. Just talk to strangers, boy. What everybody doing up this hour?
Yeah. So it is going. But what is that one view? I don't know what is that one view. Or you mean the one view picture?
Yes.
Oh! So men still exposing their nether regions unasked out there?
What do you mean they would ever stop?
Like, I put that...
That had to be a special type I was never into them things.
I don't understand, bro. Like, I have never in my life heard a man get through by sending his bits as a show. Like, oh, what? For many women and girls, you talk to them, and such anatomy is seen as nearly repulsive unless they're in that zone, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If the zone isn't there, there's nothing at the. Women and men are different. That's the women and men are. Listen. As a woman, you send a man a one view, and unless the man is trying to discipline himself and keep himself in the right place, nearly any man, once he's willing, he's not trying to discipline himself, he's going to enjoy it. He's going to like it, whether he asked for it or not. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, Yes. I mean,
Ladies, don't do that.
huh?
I was just telling the ladies not to do that.
Well, no. I'm just talking about the differences here. I'm not saying what to do here. I'm just talking about the differences. And as a man, bro, that doing nothing. In fact, it going backward. It's like, you know what that's like? That's like the men who suiting. I put that in a similar category, like the men who suit. Like, have you ever heard a man suit a random woman and get through? Like, they together now?
Let me ask you. Men do that on that serious thing or just for kids?
I have no idea.
Some serious,
I
innit?
know from the movies, and a man see me. It's on your child. A man, I walking down the road, and this man has to tell me. Well, I walk and I just walk.
Run along.
I'm not engaging. I'm walking to city eat, and I want to watch my little thing. And this man is like, "Oh, food, you're real sweet. I could run eat that, da. So I was like, "Bruh, you traveling just like." What do you mean you want to eat? Boy, girl, so my face. My God.
The man will pay the max for you.
Suit has meaning to some women. You know, I noticed, boo, suit works within cultural context. If I'm suiting a girl that I know or a girl that I'm semi-familiar with, yeah, it could kind of work as a, yo, hey, yeah, what's going on here? But a random woman that you don't know, that's not going to do anything. It doesn't have a meaning like that. And for some women who might like the attention, but they still aren't going to find you more appealing because you could make your lips ring together. Like, so, come on. Men suit for themselves and other men not to get women. It's to show off a form of bravado. I kind of agree with you. But I think those men don't necessarily think like that. It's like, I find something very homoerotic about the gym bros. No offense if you're a gym bro. You do your thing, bro. But I find something quite homoish about it. Because over a certain level, all gym bros do their thing for gym bros. When you see them in the mirror flexing and read the comments, is all the gym bros commenting on the gym bros.
My gosh.
Like,
So
I think those things aren't necessarily beneficial. What's that, Abdul?
I see a whole site. You're one working on a site in a particular, it's say clear, we pay down. And a whole site there what you're going on. Those people say nobody on this stretch, please. Don't do it. So that for them one going to complain.
Yeah, I'm not saying I never suited her, but I only suited somebody I know. And I know when they see me, it's like, hey, what's going on? I'm not suiting you for if you glimpse me like.
Nah, RL, don't say girls not interested in sports cars. Nah, RL, don't say that at all because if I jump out in the outside,
I disagree. Yeah, RL, and I real there, I disagree. Let me tell you why I disagree, eh? The girl don't know the name of the sports car. So you're right. She don't know the engine and the turbo and how much pounds that turbo and torque and 0 to what. You telling all of that and she don't know. All she know is this mean you spend more money than the average fella. That is,
Mm-hmm.
and when I sit down in the front seat, I look some type of way. Like, let me put it this way. I don't know much men with a fancy sports car who are struggling to get someone to want to sit down in the front seat.
Correct.
You understand what I mean? That, you see, a sports car different from gym, innit? Gym could, overly done gym could probably be a sign that you're broke. You have too much time to waste. As something like a heating on the gym, fellas. Fellas, I agree with gym. I think you should go gym. It's a very good thing. Get yourself fit. That is what. So I ain't hating, but just you know, you could go overboard. So overly done gym could be a sign that you're broke, while a sports car is almost certainly a sign of the opposite. Broke people, by and large, don't have sports cars.
Correct. Not even on terms. Not even on terms for that.
Like in the US, more you could hear about broke people and they swindle the way and they kind of get. In Trinidad, generally, the bank not playing that. If you're broke and you can't pay, they ain't giving you that loan. By and large, that's just not gonna happen.
I go in lifestyle motors. I time with my partner. So I said, the Porsche Panamera, they nice thing. It have a sticker on the glass sold. I said, so open now, see the inside and I said, that also. I said, how much for it? $2 million.
Jesus.
$2 million.
How you react to that? How you react when they say that? You know, it's my thing. I pretend like, I might have bought it still. 2 million.
Yeah.
2 million, all right. 2 mil.
You have no choice. You have to.
Not bad enough.
Think about.
You rub your chin. You rub your chin like you're real thinking. Oh, 2 mil. All right.
What time on it is closed?
Let me check the. I go and check the ATM there. Let me check the ATM account.
It's a different level of flex.
Yeah, it's a and you know what you notice in there are levels to this. That's why I like to put there are levels to this. So you could get a Prado, jump in a Prado for 350,000, but there are some Prados running you over 2 mil. If you in bicycle and maxi taxi level, you probably don't even know that. But among the Prado men, they know that, Among the Prado men, they know my Prado is 5 times your Prado expense. And those things do matter to them. There are levels to that. That is why the statement cockroach don't belong in foul party is a factual thing. You trying to get into play a competing, so just buy a vehicle and be happy now. You don't get into the competition business because you mightn't win that competition. To them, Ronnie, not to them. How many lonely rich men you know? How many rich men that's struggling to find companionship? That's not a thing generally.
The thing is, you wouldn't struggle to find the use of the word companionship. They'll find hoes. They'll find plenty of that.
Not necessarily, Ronnie.
Just now. Hey, what you mean? Plenty. They'll find plenty hoes, but some of them they can't find decent women.
What?
Most of the women. No, most times they run into people who are just interested in using them for that.
Ronnie, there's Trinidad and girl.
Rich man. If a rich man wants a decent woman,
He getting a decent woman.
If a young rich man,
Yes, mama.
in his 30s and the 20s, most time 50-50, them and really looking to settle down. Like them not on that piece. Them looking to run the route.
Yeah, I agree.
He looking for a decent woman. He not on that right as yet. He not on that.
I guess, well, it depends on where you call a decent woman. I guess that is probably where we differ on that. But I guess they'll find somebody to keep the company.
Not just company. Ronnie, rich people divorce less than poor people.
Well, of course. if my rich husband cheat on me, I feel like divorcing he.
So
No.
so what would make somebody a good woman then? If the women I get are less likely to leave me, wouldn't they be better than those who more likely to leave me?
I guess if the incentive behind it.
Well, duh, we have agreed with that, but we're not arguing about whether there's an incentive. We're talking about whether the women are good, whether they can get good ones.
No. You're not better. I don't think I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
You're not better because you're leaving.
Who is better? A woman who leaves me or a woman who stays? Everything else being equal. Everything else being equal. Who would a man, I'm not asking about all your women. We know your women vote 90% liberal, all your heading working to right. If all things are equal, Alex, I can't depend because all things are equal. Both women look the same, both women have the same intelligence, both women behave the same, otherwise all of that. Everything is the same, educated, same amount, all of that. The only difference is one is going to leave me and one is not going to leave me. Which one is a better woman, do you think, for a man? In a man's view. What's that?
The one that would stay.
Of course. So then, what basis are you using to see that the rich men wouldn't get good women?
I don't know. I guess it's just like the use of them, probably.
What do you mean the use of them?
The use of the men, like they use them. Sometimes women just use them.
Yeah.
Like, they're not really interested in them, but.
I kinda agree, but I kinda disagree in it. Here's what I've said this before. I think women should be hypergamous. Hypergamy, where women are looking for across and up. That's a smart thing for a woman. Someone was talking about before, where we were talking about parenting and all of that. And that the parenting they want to go back to is Abdul was saying that women home and take care of the family and take care of the house and all that. If you're looking for someone that could allow you to do that, of course you're looking for someone that could provide something better. So if you're talking about use, well, in a sense you'll call that use. You want somebody that you can use to provide for you, just as the man wants someone he could use for other things. So in a sense, we're all using each other.
If you can't be used, they use it.
It's all about utility at the end of the day, right? Like, utility is how we get things done within the society. But here's the thing for me, right? Like, here's the thing for me. Why I say, like, hypergamous nature is a thing for women, but most women don't kind of operate in hypergamy, or they don't get to do hypergamy, because hypergamy is all about either dating or marrying someone of a class than you, right? So that means financial, social status, everything like that. Most women are going to date within their class, financial bracket, social standing, educational standing. That's how it will be, right? So to me, most women don't even get to do hypergamy. Yes, women in general get to do hypergamy more than men, because at the end of the day, men are looking for women of a higher social standing than them. That don't make any sense. But very few women get to move up from being a cashier at Walmart to being the wife of a CEO of a Elon Musk level. That's not most things that don't happen, because Elon Musk don't ever roll with the woman in that certain class or group. Elon Musk is around women who have grown up around wealth and money and status for a long period of time. He dates those women. He marries those women. Right? And
You mean he just makes children with those women?
He just makes a lot of children with a lot of women,
And
not in his group.
But here, I agree with you, Trini in passing. I agree with you, but I don't agree that they don't get hypergamy. I think we probably because of the online discourse, we think hyper is the extreme level of hyper, but not generally. Yes, the woman is working as the cashier at Cash and Carry. She's the cashier at Cash and Carry. But she may get someone who is the supervisor over her. Or a guy who comes in and he's a taxi man, but his salary is 2 times her salary as the cashier. Now, she isn't being hypergamous to the real hyper end where she ends up with some Sabga son. I'm trying to use a Trinidad context for everything. She ends up with some Sabga son or Junior Sammy boys, which you might really want. But it's still hypergamy in terms of better in your social setting. It's not enormously better, but it's somewhat better. And that actually makes sense. Now, I know Theon is here to discuss a very specific thing. And I will lay this down one time. Look at the people celebrating Mr. Kirk's unfortunate assassination. And tell me if they fall into this group. Theon, effeminate men, bitter, mostly single women, and their simps. See those 3?
And feminists.
Bitter single woman. You're repeating yourself.
Oh, no.
And their simps. Look at the posts celebrating his death. Scroll through the comments and just tick those 3 check boxes and all. It's obvious. Obvious. Theon, I don't mind you jump in at all because I'm ready for the discussion on that. These are some evil, monstrous people out here.
I will give way to that discussion.
Listen to my position on Charlie Kirk, right? As far as I'm concerned, Charlie Kirk died on his ground. He died on his ground. He died literally defending his position. Literally defending his position, right? So to me, in my way of thinking, I think the people that stand behind him and he is advocating for, yes, they got a loss, but at the same time, he died standing his ground.
I agree.
So to their cause, he died. He was martyred standing.
I agree with that. Like, in the whole thing, it's sad, it's tragic, but it's understandable to some level. To me, some of the most reprehensible part of it is the celebration from people who consider and boast themselves as being the most caring, kind people out there. And you recognize what that says latently. What that says latently is it describes clearly why so many political movements were allowed to murder so many people in so many high numbers and still had support. Because if you are able to convince some people on an emotional end that someone is just their enemy, even though the person has never physically harmed them, you're able to emotionally convince them. There's a certain segment of society that will allow you to do anything to that person.
No. I don't think people should move away from what he stood for and his words, right? If they were supporters of him and followers of him. So to me, he was not, yes, coming now to the public and saying, well, listen, you all should have some empathy for him. No, he was not about empathy. He was not about it. He was about, this is my position, and I stand on that.
Yeah.
I'm not wavering from that. So be it.
I'm not saying anybody needs to have empathy for anyone, you know.
I'm talking about somebody, the things, some of what I see on social media, right? You see people not taking the position, people who back what his
view is.
Rhetoric was.
Yeah.
Not taking the position that, listen, he died standing his ground, he died a martyr for his cause. They go in the emotional route.
Some, but I've seen many people saying just what you said. he is a martyr, he's a hero, he died standing for what he believed in and reiterating all that he believed in. I think much of the emotional discussion isn't coming out of him being killed in and of itself. It's coming out of the celebration of his death. And that's not about empathy. That's about having a stable society. The idea of the democratic society, and what he also was pushing, his belief, is that we can discuss things, even things we vehemently disagree about, and through the discussion we can convince each other one way or the other, and then through consensus we make a political decision on it. But the idea of that kind of politics, the reason you do that kind of politics, is to avoid people having to take violent means to get what they believe to happen. That's the whole idea of it. And then for people to say that what they want is stability and peace, but then cheer the murder of someone who was aiming to do that. It's not about emotionally reacting like, no, you need to have empathy. No, that's not the reaction. It's like, look at these people, bear in mind they are saying what they believe is X, but they are demonstrating to you they don't believe it and they want the opposite. And if what they are cheering for actually happens, if people start to think that people who say things I don't believe, if I don't have a strong enough argument against it, I need to get rid of them, that's going to devolve into violent bloodlust in a short time.
I personally think right now is listen,
Say it, Abdul. You say it now, man.
I think someone is trying to incite a civil war within the United States.
Well, that's no doubt.
Right? I believe
it was Israel.
Inside job done by people on his own side of the fence. His own side of the fence to incite that civil disobedience. And that's what are we talking about?
I do agree with that. Let me tell you why I do agree with that. Let me tell you why I do. I would have agreed with that if the entire people on the other side of the fence came out and was like, this is a horrible thing. And but if they are cheering this one and excited and they're waiting to lionize the person who did it, how you mean? Is you're trying to tell me? You're trying to tell me here. I am looking at a group of people in a bar wearing the colors of a team, cheering on the team, yaying for the team, and then I am supposed to believe that when that team scores a goal, they aren't happy about it. Like, obviously, they're making it quite clear. How could you say this isn't that team when the team is cheering it on? Like, they are telling you, we want this to happen, we want more of this to happen, we are happy this happens. And you're saying, no, it's not really them. But they're telling it to you. Don't you see them telling you it?
I see people voicing what they say, what they want to voice, which is, again, I could go out and put a spin right now, ask the same question to 20 people, and hear a particular type of response. I could do that right now, and push a certain narrative. That's just the reality, right? The same way, I'm sure, alright, your feed might have had a particular type of his clips. My feed might have had a particular type of his clips. I can tell you the type of clips from him that was on my feed. The clips from him that was on my feed was the pro-Israel clips. 100%. 90% of the clips of him on my feed was the pro-Israel clips. On somebody else's feed, it might be the pro-life clips. And this is how people form their opinions.
And this is my point, Abdul. This is exactly my point. That people are forming an opinion, but it's not just an opinion. They are cheering on violence based on being narratived into an opinion. So someone teaches you a narrative. They supply you with a narrative, and you now have murderous support in your mind based on the narrative you were given. That is literally the problem that I'm showing. I don't mind you disagree. Grand, that's the whole point. I'm not talking about that. I am talking about cheering these things on. It's not going to end the way you want. Theon.
Is it going to end?
Of course
Right,
it's not.
I've been waiting to talk about this for a minute now, because let me tell you something about this man, Charlie Cook.
Uh-huh.
And everybody, this is my, okay, breathe. This is my thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Trinidad and Tobago, in Trinidad and Tobago, we are very Christian-minded and very conservative in the way that we generally align.
Correct.
And because of that, people automatically take the side of what they deem aligns with their beliefs, which is Christianity, right? However, shrouded by the Christianity is something much more sinister and nasty,
Which
and
is?
has been bubbling in the likes of the Conservative Party in the US and their supporters, Donald Trump, Charlie Cook, and the whole Taliban of them. And I said Taliban with good reason. Anyhow, as I was saying, now the rhetoric that this man has spread is not just to me, but to a grand mass of people, very derogatory, very demeaning, very sexist, very xenophobic against immigrants, very homophobic against the LGBTQ community, all the bits, right? And when something like this has happened, I don't know who the guy is that did it, right? I wasn't there. But you expect me, as a human being who has been the butt of every negative thing that he has had to say, to now empathize with his death.
No one is telling you empathize
Wait,
with him.
hold on. Let me get out. To empathize with his death, right? Him being the same person that if I were to die, or let me say, for example, Senator Jasmine Crockett, they would dance on this lady grave. So no. I'm not
But
going
where's
to-
your proof of that? Because it has happened where assassinations and violence has happened on the other side, and he was one who said you should not celebrate anyone's death. So
Right, I'm not saying I'm not pro-celebrating the man death, which is why when he passed, I said nothing. And I don't celebrate his death. No one should celebrate anyone's death. And my feed on TikTok and Instagram and everywhere else has been people that are more liberal-leaning saying, I don't celebrate this guy's
you don't.
However,
Theon, wait, Theon. Let's be honest. You didn't see any celebration.
I've seen some, but the
Come
majority...
on, let's be honest.
No, I'll be honest, I've seen some. But the majority of people that I've seen have generally been like, I didn't agree with a lot of the things that he said. However, he didn't deserve to die this way, and rightly so that they said that, right? But to now generalize all liberals as being people that are cruel and heartless and wanting to see the death of this good Christian man, which by the way he wasn't, so let's kill that right there.
How you know that? What's your proof of him not being a good Christian man?
He said that he would allow his teenage daughter to carry the baby of a man that raped her.
And how does that make him not a Christian man? Because wait, before you go on. Christianity says that baby is alive. It's a life. So what he's saying is he wouldn't allow his daughter to murder his grandson or granddaughter, regardless of the conditions they were conceived in. How does that make him an evil person or anti-Christian?
I never said he's evil.
How does that make him
That
anti-Christian?
doesn't necessarily come across as a good Christian thing to do
Why?
to me and to many.
Why?
He was a Christian extremist.
That is a
I can say he was
A Christian extremist.
That's not. Listen. I don't know what. Abdul. You aren't a Christian. I am. That's not extreme in Christian views. That's very regular. Christians believe.
Regular, you say.
Yes.
not regular.
That's concerning
As a
that is a regular thing
No,
within the
but
Christian
as a
community.
Christian, most of Christian community don't believe in abortions anyway.
Listen, 98.1. Wait, 98.1, which was the main Christian channel in this country for a very long time. used to play an ad,
I remember
an
that.
anti-abortion ad that went through circumstances of conception, including rape, and the justification some people would use for abortion. And then the end of the ad went through to say all the figures that were born through such, and if we aborted them, the world would have lost such people. 98 is as mainstream of a Christian station as there is.
Listen, sorry to cut you Abdul real quick. I digress from that point because that is detracting from the main point, right?
No, that is the main point, because the main point is that a lot of the people are saying, well, he's a racist, and well, he's not even a great Christian, and they're making these statements without providing any proof.
Right. Well, listen, Nathan, right? Listen.
I'm all in no others leave when I get this problem.
Don't leave, Ronnie. Don't leave. That's all. Let me say this. I don't disagree with everything that he said, you know. Not every single position he held I disagree with. I have no problem with being pro-gun, with people being armed. I 100% support being armed. 100%. I have no problem with the pro-life position. Pro-life, I have no issue with it. Right?
Mm-hmm. Which position you had a problem with? I know, well, there would be religious disagreements, but which position you had a problem with?
The pro-life position, the extent he went, and you know saying that is normal among the Christians, I didn't know that.
It is.
Right? The other position, what I had a problem with, and I know Ronnie go get upset, but that we battle, he was ridiculously Zionist and anti-Palestine.
I'm not going to get upset, and I know that is your view. That's why I'm not going to get upset.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing, Abdul.
Number 3 in this part.
All right, go ahead.
He was the ultra-Christian. He didn't care about Palestinian Christians dying. At the same time, he didn't care about them.
Talk the things, Abdul.
No, wait. That is a debatable thing, literally, because we've literally debated a lot of these things. This, I agree, I could not agree. I could see how you hold your position because you are of a religious view. And he held his position based on a religious view too. And to attempt then to say that what he does is he actually don't care about those people. That's not what he said. That's not what the position is. The position he is saying is that he believes Hamas is the aggressor and that Israel has the right to defend themselves and they are not going overboard. That the information coming out of Palestine is propaganda from Hamas and it is not accurate. You could disagree with that view, but that is not the same thing as him saying, I am glad all of them are dying. That's not the same thing. And it's amusing how they jump and twist and think. I understand your position, Abdul, and your own makes more sense to me because that's a debate. And you can actually identify the things he said that is pro-Zionist because he is pro-Zionist. Theon and they do. The problem I have is he hates black people based on what? He's not a good Christian. Based on what? Based on what?
Okay, so sorry, as an ex-Christian, right? Because I no longer identify myself with Christian.
Shocking.
Right? So, from my understanding of what true religion is, according to the book of James, is that you help those that are in need and so wait. I just want to know something as we on the topic of empathy, which he's quoted as saying, you said you wanted proof, there's proof. He's quoted as saying empathy is weakness and it isn't a real emotion, etc., etc. And this kind of very acerbic rhetoric that is not necessary to help anybody. Empathy is
I have said that on this live before. Ronnie, haven't you heard me say that same thing on this live?
How does empathy only start when the rich Republican white man is a victim of gun violence, right?
And when I was telling you that, you crossed me. But I've told you no one is telling you to have empathy on anyone. That's not what anyone is saying. What I am highlighting, though, is that y'all say, y'all say y'all are the most empathetic, and look at the results of these empathetic people dancing and frolicking on grades. That's highlighting your hypocrisy. But I'm not telling you you need to empathize with anyone. That's not where I'm coming from. And the statement that empathy isn't necessary and that it isn't necessarily a good thing, especially when it comes to leadership, is not an inaccurate statement. You have to understand what empathy is and what is meant by that statement. Empathy is putting yourself in someone else's shoe, feeling someone else's pain, as it were. A leader who has to lead by the millions, would they need to feel every individual's pain? By definition, they wouldn't, and they can't. And when you get fooled into believing that somehow leadership is about them feeling your pain, is when you end up in monkey pants, like giving away all your money to BLM and they're building mansions off of it.
No, but what's crazy is that they had that in Gulf in Mar-a-Lago, but that's besides the point. Well, again, back to, sorry to cut you, Ronnie, and I'm really sorry, but I just wanted to say that when the millions of people are having the negative experience of the genocide in Gaza, or the Ukrainians that the Republicans at one point wanted to pull all funding from when it was supported by Biden, there was no empathy then. I find it's just very selective when we choose.
But the man was never for empathy in the first place. So don't have empathy.
Right, what I'm saying is not about Charlie Kirk specifically. It's just about how fickle people are and when they choose to enforce it. Because the same people that are, I see a lot of people from Trinidad and Tobago especially talking about, he was a father and he was this, and he was. And, you know, sorry to that man. However, there are millions of people all over the world that do not have the same privilege that this man had to access this level of empathy worldwide, especially given that these people did not spew the rhetoric that he does.
Okay, good.
What rhetoric? You're saying something without itemizing it. What is the rhetoric? And
oh gosh,
go ahead, Ronnie. Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you very much, especially because Theon said that he wants to hear what
Yes,
I had
yes,
to
yes.
say. You know?
Yes.
For one, I actually, unlike most people who just don't like him and they never heard of him, I actually really like him and I followed him for a while. I think that I agree with most of his points, not all obviously. And of course, Abdul, I will not be upset with you for saying he's a Zionist. He held very strong views on his religious lines, which you also have. So if you all have different religions, I expect that will clash. So I don't have that problem. However, my thing is, and I'm not saying that he always said, and he had quotes on empathy, but the thing is, people are chopping his quotes into pieces and posting it as if that was it. Context is very important. I have seen, like, for instance, the whole empathy thing, which I, based off the context, would fairly agree with, but when you listen outside of context, you listen to a lot of people now and they change their stance on empathy. A lot of people say that we have become too empathetic as a society. A lot of people say that empathy is ruining society. So it's not to say like this is a new concept that people are coming up with. It is showing now that a lot of people want to move away from empathy anyway. So he's not the only one. But and it's not just conservative. I've seen like a lot of regular middle line black people talk about it. So it's not to say like it's a racist thing and whatever. Obviously people have the opinions of him. He might come off too strong. You all know how I feel about strong people. I like strong people because I know where I stand with them. I don't like closeted liberal racists. That's why I get a very redneck racist who when I tell them straight out they don't like black people.
What's his ideology, Sarah? You're saying he's a Christian nationalist.
Oh, he's this racist, but whatever said in the camp full. So I just don't understand. It's just total. Anyway, that's not what I was going to say, but I have seen it for myself. And Nathan had the three texts very correct. Because most of the people who I've seen say it is like, I've seen people, and then I even, so Theon might say, well, they're not celebrating, but then they make him post like, so he died what is the price of tomatoes in the market? Like, you know, it's very dismissive.
I mean, that's
So
something
why is
ridiculous comment.
you're not celebrating, but you're kind of making, you went out
Their
of your
purpose,
way
they
to
know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
don't care, just don't share. But they do care, but they are sharing because they want to make it like, oh well, you know that kind of way? Just don't share it if you don't care. If I don't care about something, I'm not going to share it.
Because it's inescapable. Like, you can't go anywhere on social media
Don't share
without seeing
it.
this.
Don't share it. Don't share
There are
it.
many people, I have people on my timeline that have said nothing on the topic. I know people, they said nothing on the topic. You don't have to. And
Exactly.
I would like to know, Ausara, what do you think his ideology is as such? What do you think it is? And to the person that said he said slavery was embellished. Slavery was embellished. It has been embellished. It has been tried. Many people have tried to tell a narrative out of it. Like, and yes, black men are overrepresented in violent crime. That's a fact. And it annoys me no end. I have said this in this live over and over and over again. I have made this point over and over again. I did an entire video breaking down these statistics and the possible genetic, the possible historic, the possible cultural causes in history. I went through these things before. And I don't disagree. It's obvious. You look in Trinidad and you see it. Yes, there's a racial component. Overrepresented in violent crime. Yes, there's a racial component. Overrepresented in white collar crime. Yes, there are those things. Yes, chattel slavery was embellished. There are some people that try to make it seem chattel slavery was the worst kind of slavery ever practiced anywhere in the world, and it was the only real time slavery was done. No, slavery has been a common human practice since humanity began civilizations. And in fact, there are more slaves in present day than there ever will on this planet. Ever. And you know which person is most responsible for the booming slave trade right now? The liberal sweetheart of Barack Obama.
But Nita,
I went on end off here. I don't want to go further in it, but I just wanted to make my last point on this, and then I'll continue. I would like to say at no point in time, it doesn't matter how much we disagree with somebody, we could disagree with them, but it didn't match. It didn't match, right? You could disagree. I could disagree with you. I disagree with Nathan all the time. I disagree with Abdul all the time. But would that mean that when I should celebrate, well, not to celebrate, but does that mean that I should kill Abdul? I should get somebody to kill him because I don't agree with him? No, that is never the answer. It does not make sense. The person, the individual, has not committed any violent acts against anybody.
yeah.
That will warrant, just now, that will warrant the end, right? If something happens, yes, people, and he's just speaking. If his words trigger some kind of feeling in people, I'm sorry, check your feelings. That's wrong.
The reason it is forbidden, and it's sad that someone has to identify this. The reason it's forbidden is because if it starts, it doesn't stop. You know what I find a pathetically foolish prospect? People see that group is the majority and they hate us. But you know what we want to do? We want to start killing out the people we disagree with. We want to foment the idea that we should kill those we disagree with. And you're saying they are the majority that don't like you. So if everybody hold on to, well, we need to end those we disagree with, what you think that's going to result in? How you think that's going to go, you?
Political violence is nothing new to the United States.
I agree, but I'm telling you why people are having a problem with it. You asked a question and it's that I answered. Why are we focusing on this about the Epstein book that was released that Trump is in? You mean the thing that says he drew a picture that no one can corroborate? Come on, Amber. You've been drinking that Kool-Aid very strong, Amber. So I'd like you to come up. I'd like Amber to come up and discuss. Sarah says chattel slavery was more severe and different because it claimed people as personal property. Sarah, I would like to ask Sarah if chattel slavery was the only slavery that claimed people as personal property. Sarah, do you think so?
all slavery. That's the only way slavery works.
Ronnie, that notion that words can't hurt anybody, that is false.
I never say it can't hurt you, it cannot harm you. My words cannot harm you, Abdul. Can my words land a bomb on your house?
Listen, Ronnie, words can incite. If I, Abdul, start making social media videos calling for Sharia, let's not let me finish.
No, sorry, not you, Amber. Sorry, Amber. I accepted your request.
If I start making social media videos and I have 1 million followers, mostly Muslim, right? Like and I start making calls for Sharia in Trinidad and Tobago, are you going to continue that rhetoric? Words can't harm?
When did he call for something like that? When did he call for any violence?
But
you made the statement that words
I'm
cannot
asking you, when did he call for violence? When did he call
You
for
don't have to directly call for violence.
Well, yes, you do. If you're going to make that a claim, then you have to.
Don't do that, Ronnie, because when
Yes,
Malcolm...
if you are saying he's inciting, then you have to say that he incited. You have to show me where he incited.
People names of people who was taken out and accused of things for the words. Malcolm X.
And that's
Fred
wrong.
Hampton. Let me talk now, man. Right?
Abdul, you can't tell me about you want to talk because when I just want to talk, you doesn't give me no time to talk. So Abdul, don't talk him, man.
Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, Anwar Awlaki. Anwar Awlaki simply made lectures based on Islam talking against the United States. He was drawn. He was drawn for words.
by who?
He was
And those are all wrong.
for words.
By who?
Do you hear me saying that was a good thing?
Abdul, I agree with the Anwar one. But don't forget to say by who, just for men like Theon to recognize.
Of course he was drawn by Obama.
Right?
Of course.
Obama?
Yes. Yes.
And after he killed him, he killed his son. And I think
Yes.
the whole wedding wiped out too. A whole wedding.
Yeah.
So, yes, I agree. And I think that's a wrong thing. That's a wrong thing. I agree. And even if I disagree with Sharia, and that's what Anwar was proposing, you'll never see me saying it good. And I understand why they kill him is right. And what's the price of tomato? No, I won't do that. And I don't believe in empathy. Not that I don't believe in empathy. That's not the statement. I don't think empathy is necessary for the running of a country. And I wouldn't cheer it on because I think that's a horrible thing. And I do not want to push forward the idea that how we get out of political disagreements is violence. Because what I would prefer, because this is literally what I do. Like, I'm looking at some of these people and I'm recognizing that some of these people would murder me and cheer at my death if given the chance. Because it's the same thing I do. I am talking here. I am talking. You all watch me happy with my 2 children. These people, there are some of them would be happy if I die over just talking. And I would prefer that we talk and we reason, and if you could show everyone that I'm wrong, you show them I'm wrong, you convince them to your side, and then through consensus we come to a conclusion. I would prefer that, because that way even those I disagree with are still alive at the end. So you're asking why we don't promote the violence. That's why.
No, but Nathan, to the point of words being harmful, right? To the point of words being harmful and everybody having the opportunity to speak and free speech and this and that, right? Where Mr. Kirk is concerned, the words that he spoke, even though he himself did not carry out, I guess, hateful physical acts, they may have strongly inspired others to carry out hateful acts.
Words like what?
I would like to
just now, Amber. I know, Amber. I know. Just now, I just want Theon to verify something for me, because I've been asking this since yesterday from the people, and I've yet to see them.
I've been watching his. I didn't know here about this guy's existence. I've been watching the videos that he had on YouTube about, immigrants not belonging in the country, and they should, even those who are well educated, even those who became naturalized citizens once you're not born in the US, etc. These are views that he held, that these people need to go.
That naturalized US. Wait. Let's identify the view. Let's not generalize and brush. Let's see if we could get a quote out here that showed his reprehensible views. He said naturalized US citizens should be kicked out. Because I'm asking, what exactly did he see that was so evil?
I promise you in my free time I'm going to look up the actual debates where he was debating those college students, and he brought that up because somebody brought it to him, and his response was, the naturalized citizens, people that were not born Americans, should not have the right to be here because their actual act of being here is against the law.
You're not talking about naturalized citizens. You're talking about people who cross the border illegally. That's what you was talking about.
As naturalized citizens.
And if you cross the border illegally, he's saying you should not get an option to get legal. And I agree with that even in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't want somebody sneaking across our border. Wait, I don't want somebody sneaking across our border and then getting the chance to get it legal.
Right, listen to me. Look at all the Venezuelan children that came. Children against their own will, by their parents' will. They were not born here. They are not legal citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. And by that rhetoric and that mentality, they should be sent to a country that they do not know to speak a language they don't speak, and that is unsafe. That is not nice.
They should go home.
I have a question.
With their parents.
I have a question.
What?
I'm not saying the parents should be allowed done, but I'm just saying.
So wait, we should send the parents home and leave the children in Trinidad? So we should send the illegal Venezuelan parents home, but keep their children?
Even if anchor babies should not be accepted either. So that one could be weird.
And to just, Ronnie, I know. But to just go to something someone asked quite up. Someone asked, which other slavery had people as property? The Irish slavery, the slavery where the word slavery come from, the Slavs that would take from Eastern Europe, that were taken as slaves into the Fertile Crescent for thousands of years, they were property. The Arabic slave trade, the Trans-Saharan slave trade, they were property. And in fact, they were snipped. So they had no nuts. And they were property.
Yes, I know about that. They were made eunuchs.
So what do you mean, like the chattel slavery was the only slavery that was like that? Yes, they all get reparations. Which one of them got? That I just called.
But if you're saying that, though, that would be also considered chattel slavery because they were enslaved for life, just like people in America.
When I'm speaking about chattel slavery, and the point I was making there was what most people recognize as chattel slavery, the 400 years of African slave trade into the Americas, the New World.
We're not only speaking about that type of slavery because that was not the only type of chattel slavery there was.
But that is the point that he was making. That's what I was talking about.
But
that's what the discussion was.
I wanted to ask, right? Do you believe that Hitler should have died?
Do I believe that Hitler should have died?
Yeah.
Yes, the man was murdering people.
Behind you.
Yes, the man that was murdering people.
But that is also.
Wait.
Let her continue, Abdul. Let her finish her point.
Guys, let me reply.
Yeah, let her finish her point.
He was an activist at first. He was the same way, just like Charlie Clerk. He was a debater at first and an activist. And
no, he was a soldier at first in World War I. But go ahead.
No. He was an activist and he was also a debater. He led many.
Do you know that he fought in World War I?
Entire crowd. But do you believe that?
Amber, pause. Do you know he fought in World War I?
Yes, I do know that, but I'm asking.
The debater you're talking about, was it before or after World War I?
Could you directly answer my question? Do you believe that Hitler should have died for his beliefs?
No.
He wasn't dying for his beliefs.
He didn't die for his beliefs.
That's not the question I asked.
I just answered no. I just answered no.
Do you believe you're not missing my point?
I said no.
No. You're not missing my point because really and truly, what I'm asking is right because Hitler was a debater and he was an activist at first.
He was also a murderer.
Later on, but he was an
They
activist.
killed
And
him
who
after he
gave
became a
him the
murderer.
power? Hold on. Who gave him the power to now materialize
Let her finish,
his
Ron.
thoughts and beliefs?
So
The
he has
government,
this,
right?
If
Government.
if
He was
Charlie
also
could-
funded by
if
the
Charlie
government
could
to put.
Wait now, Ronnie. Wait now. Let her finish. Let her finish. Go ahead.
Right? He was also funded by the government to push his beliefs. Not so? So do you all believe that he should have died because he was also a father?
So what you're asking here, Amber?
Direct yes or no?
I answered this 5 times, Amber. You're not listening. I've said yeah. I've said no. I've said no. I've said no. I've said no. He should not die for his beliefs. What he died for wasn't his beliefs. He died for murdering people. They didn't start raiding Germany. The air raids didn't start when Hitler was talking. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you're saying he should have been murdered before when he was just debating, they should have killed him then. Then what we're saying here is what we need to do is identify anyone saying things that we believe at some future point is going to turn into danger and kill them first. You understand where we were going with that? Because I think some of the things you all push are going to cause danger in the future. Some of you all pushing the trans stuff, I think you're all going to cause danger in the future as you are. So we should kill you all just when you talk it.
So what does a trans person have anything to do with your worldview and your beliefs and you existing as a person? What they have to do with that?
The truth, that's what they have to do with that.
What truth though?
The truth that you cannot become.
Are they disturbing you? Are they harming you?
Yes, they are.
So why should they unalive or should not be in existence?
Who said anything about unalive?
Shouldn't exist.
Who said anything about unalive?
Nathan, I just want to try spoken wheel.
Yeah, Abdul.
Right? Them numbers was embellished as well. Let me just throw that spoke in the wheel one time.
Abdul, don't let me get Kanye and Dan Bilzerian on this. This is Abdul. Don't put me in that kind of place right now, please.
No, well, if you want to say that slavery was embellished, and you also have to say that the Holocaust numbers was also embellished.
I don't have a problem with that statement. What you thought I was offended by that statement? I'm just telling him I don't want to go down there.
I just want to get an idea of your thought processes.
Okay, so if the numbers were embellished, yes, that's a bad thing.
Do you mean it's a bad thing? That's not the question I asked.
What's the question you're asking?
I said, if you believe that chattel slavery in America was embellished, and you also have to accept the fact, or believe, you also probably would believe that the Holocaust numbers was also embellished.
Why?
Because if you're saying that the history of chattel slavery was embellished, and you also have to say all history was embellished.
Well, that I agree with. Everyone says that history is written by the victors. But if I'm making a specific point showing where exactly in chattel slavery they did the embellishment, what that would mean is that if you want, wait, listen, I allow you the privilege of listening. So if you want to say that the numbers in the ovens, and they usually talk baking and cookies, I know all of that. If you want to say that, you have to prove how it was embellished, and I've seen some really convincing stuff. So yes, okay. What's the point? Yes, people prove embellishment in different historical accounts. And what I would like to know then, Amber, if you think that the current political leadership, so Tantikams saying kill them all violently out there, could possibly lead to some kind of war here that could cause people to die. So what you're saying is someone should end her right now?
What I'm saying is someone should end her, no, but I would like her
Why
to
not?
from her position.
No, but why shouldn't they end her permanently?
I agree with the fact that Charlie Clerk shouldn't have died,
So then what you're arguing
He
about?
shouldn't have. I am not saying that, he should be killed for his belief.
So what you're arguing about here?
What I'm saying is, yeah,
That he should have been killed for. I'm not saying he should have been killed, but I mean, what you're saying?
I let you speak, right? I guess then I could.
Go ahead. I'd like to know what you're saying.
What she's saying is basically chickens come home to roost.
Hey,
Actions have consequences. Hold on. Action
Don't,
have
Abdul, don't be saver.
consequences.
Don't be king saver,
If
eh?
somebody comes in front of you and they say the word nigger, won't you get offended?
No, I won't.
Okay, so let's just say for instance, someone comes in front of you and says something hurtful like the N-word, as I was reiterating, and you know, you're a type of person, you don't know how to control yourself and control your anger, right? You, let's just say, punch the person, wouldn't you say, sorry, that their action had a consequence?
they had no action. They had words. You have action.
I would say, just as they do in football, I would say you should get the red card and that person should stay on the field. Because, as I've said earlier on in this very same live, I do not want that. Because if we get to the point of discussions leading to punches, we can no longer have discussions. And discussions are the way we don't get punches. We can discuss and you can convince, disagree, and we fight in the battlefield of ideas so we don't actually cause bloodshed on a real battlefield.
That's okay, that's fine. I could get around to that. But can we also say the same thing for Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and all the other activist speech so-called debaters, if you want to call them
You
that?
think I'm happy they killed
Can we say the
MLK?
same thing for them?
That we didn't want them to get killed.
You,
I think that's fair. We didn't want any of them to get killed.
you think I'm okay with the murder of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X?
No, well, the cauterization of it is like they also died for their political beliefs. So why is it good for the goose and
Who's saying it's... Who's saying that?
Any of
No,
them.
I'm saying the cauterization of it.
What do you mean the cuddleization?
So basically what I'm saying is the fact that we infantilizing what Charlie Kirk has said.
How are we infantilizing what he said?
What?
How are we infantilizing what he said?
The fact that we are infantilizing what he said, things like black women don't have the proper processes. We're not able to think and all these types
He
of
never
stuff.
said that. I bet you heard somebody tell you he said that and you did not see a quote.
I quote him to say that if he walks onto a plane and there's a black pilot, he's automatically going to ask and assume, hey, is this person qualified to fly this plane? And to me, so statements like that are racist.
What's the context? Wait, Ronnie. Ronnie, let me go now. Ronnie, let's go. Ronnie, wait. Pause. Do you? I want to ask Theon. I want to ask because he is giving the quote. I want to ask Theon. Do you know the context he said that in?
I do understand the context that he was speaking about DEI. Yes, I understand the context, but that doesn't make it any less offensive as a statement. As a person, me myself, who is educated in the field of science and hold a science bachelor's, right? And I go to the workplace. So when I was working in the lab in the hospital, if I walked in there and some white guy walked in and was like questioning my education and my degree just because I am black, simply because he assumed that I may be DEI, yes, I consider that to be racist.
But the difference is Trinidad does not have DEI. Now, here's where the difference would be. Imagine if a party comes into power and says the Venezuelans have it hard in Trinidad. The Venezuelans have it hard. So we are trying to boost their status to elevate them in society. So we are going to, put a little bonus on their qualifications in various areas to try and equalize the representation in different areas. And then you go in after that, you see 1 plane crash, 2 plane crash, 3 plane crash, and then after that, you say, well, what they're doing here is actually bad for the Venezuelans. Because what it causes is that now, when I go onto an aircraft and I see a Venezuelan flying, it makes me second guess their qualification. Is that racist or common sense?
Racist.
That's racist.
Shani, what's up? Shani, please
Why
go
do we
next.
have to labelize a skin color to somebody's actions? Why do we have to do that? Why are we
But that's what DEI did, Amber.
specific
Because people, human beings, box everybody and themselves
But
into
what
a
does another
category.
black
We
person
can't get away from
have
that.
to do with me, Trini?
Stop this, no. But the whole point of yes, no, nah, dog, this can't be serious. I listen to you all from Port of Spain, right? Straight down to fucking San, and up to now, they can't give me a piece of my boy. That's crazy, no, because that's wild, boy. That's wild, boy. That's wild, boy. I listen to all the talk the whole road, boy.
Go ahead, Trini. Go ahead, Trini. Go ahead. Breathe, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, so here's my thing, right?
Yeah.
Is this. We cannot state and stand up here and talk about what a man's skin color actions is when DI is all about skin color.
Yes.
DI is all about skin color. Affirmative action is all about skin
Let's
color.
not say that, because that is not the truth.
But it's literally the truth. It's literally the truth. DI affirmative is all about skin color. It's all about giving minorities a leg up in the game. It's all about skin color. It's not have nothing to do with the qualifications. Have nothing to do with if they're competent enough. But here we are talking about, well, what the skill of a man has to do with anything. But the government literally installed this and still listen to the people, and somehow we supposed to be
It's not
understanding.
color. You missed the
Listen.
point too.
All right, you go ahead now, boy, dog. You talk for me. You talk for me.
Because I don't want you to.
Go ahead now.
I don't want you to
This is
feel-
crazy.
No, I'm hearing what you're saying, and you saying it is
ahead,
about
Tia.
skin color, but I would just like to correct you and say no, it's not about skin color. It is about people, it's about groups and classes of people that have been underrepresented in certain areas, not just about the color of your skin, but they were not afforded the opportunity to have these opportunities. So the qualified people, students, in job positions, once they qualified for that space, they were given a space within that space. It's not just about
This is a
picking
lie.
black
This is
people
a
off the
lie.
streets and
Because when the
putting them in
Asian
streets.
community,
That is what
this is a
DEI
lie.
is
Because when the
supposed to.
Asian students, this is a lie. When the Asian students literally come out, no, he has to meet up. So what I'm saying is this, right? Is because he can't get to talk over me, and I can't get to talk over him. So here's what I'm saying, right?
I listen and
I don't
Trini.
care, girl. I don't care about that. Right? So here's what I'm saying. I'll calm down. So here's what I'm saying is this. That is a lie, because when the Asian students came out and say, why is my place being taken away to give to some poor pubescent black person? What is the problem with that? It all have to do with the skin color of a person. It all have to do with how the person is in this society. So it all have to do with skin color. Let's not even play them kind of game, boy.
It's not.
They don't play that kind of
The
game.
technicality is
Disabilities of
Thank you
people,
for your
boy.
point.
I have a question. What is DEI?
DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion.
And diversity, equity, and inclusion. You don't
Oh.
understand that?
Trini,
Can I
let's
ask,
define those three words.
like,
I feel like we
what
should do
the
that.
hell
So
are we
we
doing?
define
That's not boy.
especially equity and inclusion. Because these spaces were predominantly not accessible to people who come from certain classes regardless of skin color. Right? So it's not about skin color.
How wasn't it accessible just now?
Literally about skin color, boy.
It is not about skin color.
It's literally about skin
Pause.
color, boy.
Let's pause. Let's have the conversation. Let's have the conversations. Pause.
Literally about skin color.
Listen, this is your claim. If this is your claim, that means that
That's
you
what I
stand.
Wait. Let's pause. Everybody pause. Let's have the actual conversation here. Let's have the actual conversation.
I'm trying to say something.
So, DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. You're saying, Thean, I'd like to just a little back and forth. You're saying the people didn't have the opportunity to get into those spaces. How come they didn't have the opportunity to get into those spaces?
Didn't have the opportunity to get into those spaces because they were disadvantaged due to socioeconomic status.
Exactly.
Just now, we'll have the. You're pleasant, Amber, but I'm just trying to get to the bottom of the discussion here. They were pre-unselected because of their socioeconomic status. How did the socioeconomic status ban them, pre-unselect them, stop them from getting there? How?
It did not afford them the opportunities to get higher qualities of education based on the budget that they have. If you go to a community college or school or public school in the US, the quality of education and the general grades of these students, again, regardless of color, are significantly lower than those who are afforded the opportunity to go to private schools and religious schools.
Okay. So, if it's about socioeconomic problems, why not do it based on socioeconomic standards? Why have racial and gender quotas in there?
Because even if there are racial and gender quotas in there, even within that, they're not going to just pick up a random vagrant on the side of the road in New York just because he's black and put him in Harvard. That's not how that works. People that are actually qualified for the position get those spaces.
All right. But let's discuss how those things are chosen based on merit, right? So if we're choosing the top doctors to enter the top medical school, what we do is the highest grades anywhere. We close our eyes to the name, to the race, to everything. Close our eyes, the highest grades come in. If we open our eyes and say we have to let in some from some group, by default, you understand it wouldn't be the highest grades coming in.
Nathan.
Wait, let me finish the back and forth. We will get in. You understand that, Tian?
I do understand that, yes.
So then, by nature, DEI is choosing less than the best for an area.
Less than the best overall, but not necessarily less than the best for the position, if that makes sense.
I understand what you're saying because I've had the discussion before. And what people say is it's not that they're taking black people that were unqualified. They're taking black people that are already in the qualification area and allowing them the chance. But qualification isn't it for merit-based things. It's the people that perform the best. You don't get qualified for first place. You beat everyone else, and that's how you get first place. And if we want to get the best, we choose first place. And what his argument might be, you could disagree with that. What his argument and many other people's are, is that how we want the best for all areas in society is blindly just choosing the best. That's my discussion on that.
If we're having this discussion about blindly choosing the best, then educational institutions, prestigious educational institutions like Harvard and like Princeton, etc., should not be allowed to have legacy acceptance into their schools.
And that's a beautiful counter. And here's the thing, Theon. Here's the
going to create spaces specifically for black and brown and queer and whatever else people, and they just want to have it the best of the best, which is, we all know, purely going to be white because they've had access to the best.
That's not true. Actually, it's purely going to be Asian.
Let me call a spade a spade for 2 seconds, right? Let me call a spade for 2 seconds, right? Then stop the legacy acceptance of students to these institutions.
Theon.
Oh, my dad went to Harvard, so I know I have a guaranteed spot because he donated millions.
Theon.
Stop. Let's not do that.
Theon, we're talking about someone who has had this discussion before in terms of Charlie Kirk and this discussion. And if you watched his discussion, someone brought that up and he agreed with them. He was of that same view too. So how is his statement then proof that he's an evil person? Because what he says is he wants merit only. Get rid of even the legacy spots. And he also said, as well as those in that group, the truth is, you do that, and the statistics basically show that all the top positions would be taken by Asians. Not white people, Asians. And you know what's kind of amazing to me? So many of the super pro-black crowd say the two things out of two sides of their mouth when it comes to DEI. They say that DEI mostly only benefited white women. And then they say we should still have DEI. Huh? All right. Abdul, I know you're waiting a long time, bro. I know you're waiting a long time.
I understand the quote-unquote DEI, the anti-DEI argument, but realistically, it stemmed out of affirmative action and some other thing they had. And the reason, because we are not living in a perfect world, we are dealing with humans. We're dealing with humans. The reason for that is that whole affirmative action drive they had, at the end of the day, there was discrimination, there was unfair practices happening when it came to placement, especially for black people, brown people, wherever you want to call it. Now, nobody could tell me that 100%, let go with doctors, 100 white doctors was picked purely because of the merit, and no black doctors was on that merit list. You can't tell me that when you're dealing with a nation that has a history steeped in discrimination. Whether we want to admit it or not, they have a history steeped in discrimination.
All nations have a history steeped in discrimination.
Okay, but we're dealing with
Yeah.
the DEI
Yeah.
issue, which is in the United States in particular, we're dealing with right now. Right?
Yeah.
I is not part of the system, so it's in effect.
Let me ask something then, Abdul. Let me ask something then. So, do you think then that the solution to past injustices is to parallel weight on the scale now to even it up? And then what? When it's even up, then you take a weight off the scale?
That is what was initially done with affirmative action.
Huh?
That is what was initially done with affirmative action.
But the weight was never taken off the scale till they forced it off the scale.
It was broadened now to include not only black people, but other quote-unquote marginalized groups.
And where does that end? If every time you see something a little unfair in the system, you have to put your thumb on the scale, when does that end? Because the reality is, the system will never be equal.
But the system will never be equal, Nathan.
So then you're saying it always requires the government putting their thumb on the scale in some direction.
In a society that is steeped in discrimination and unfair practices, it might be needed. And
so let's remember something.
Nathan,
right. Sorry. I thought you was finished.
I know you don't agree with this, but in a country like the United States that is historically steeped in this level of discrimination, it exists. We can't come in 2025 and pretend it do exist and did not exist. We can't do that.
Well, Abdul, let's bring it to Trinidad and Tobago. Professor Deusaran, I believe his name was, when he became in charge of the Police Service Commission under the People's Partnership, he made a statement back in 2010 saying that the protective services in Trinidad and Tobago have historically discriminated against Indians and have a very low percentage of Indians. And his job inside of the Police Service Commission, he would like to equalize that. Do you think he should do that? He should have done that?
Well, I think it was done.
That's not what I asked.
If he could have proved, listen to me carefully, right? If he could have proved not just by visual. If he could have proved discrimination was taking place, literally proved it, fine by all means.
But
He didn't prove that. He didn't prove it. He just made a statement based on observation.
But can you prove, but Abdul, can you prove in the current context that discrimination is taking place in the US colleges?
I could only go with, listen, I not living there. I could only go with whatever historical context is put out. That's all I could go by. And there was discrimination.
In when? When was there discrimination? What kind of discrimination? When?
Oh gosh, Nathan, I'm going to pull up my laptop to go and pull that up.
Yeah, Abdul, I think, I'm telling you.
I know for you, you go say United States never had no discrimination.
That-
If it's never,
Abdul-
Never say that. Never once say that. That never come out. That never come out. That's crazy.
Listen. I am not even saying that there wasn't discrimination, but I'm saying that the same logic Professor Deosaran was using is the same logic that they used for DEI. And I know, because I was on Facebook back then, how angry so many people got when he made that statement. Because the reality in Trinidad is, maybe there was discrimination, but the reality is people want different things and they have different capabilities. And we wouldn't deny, when we look at the Olympics and the 100-meter race, if the 100-meter final in the Olympics is all black people, no one is going to say, well, we need more diversity here, you know. We need to let in some Japanese and some Chinese and some Indians and some Caucasians. No, if the fastest people that run is all Negras, then let the Negras run. If in basketball, the most athletic people we could find, the top 50 of them are all black, there's obviously a genetic component in that. So we don't mind that. But if we look in Harvard, and in the STEM courses, all the top 100 are Asian. We like, no, that bad. We have to equalize that one.
All I want to do was ask a question.
That's not one question. Let me put this one thing there.
Mm-hmm.
At the time Professor Deosaran made that statement and created that statement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was TTPS, or them days was TTPF, ever the occupation of choice for the young East Indian community? Was it?
That was the point I was making. No.
So it was not. So the numbers wasn't swayed more than in the African descent direction because of discrimination.
But here's the thing, Abdul.
Listen.
No, on that same topic, before we drift, go look at the differences that black families put in an effort in schooling. What is the average after school hours put in by black families on revision and Asian families on revision? The same thing you're saying. Some people aren't interested in that. Many black people were not interested. And they still are not.
This is why I'm saying, if Deosaran could have proved, if he could have proved that discrimination caused the numbers to be what it was in that service, which he could not have proved that, then fine, he could have done what he wanted.
He could have definitely proven that he was head of the police commission.
And Thean, I like that statement. Thean, I love that statement because they love to study that. It's hard to put hours into these things when you're focused on survival. I love that because they did studies on below the poverty line Asians and wealthy blacks. You know, higher class, upper class blacks spend less time studying than below the poverty line Asians. I guess them rich blacks real busy surviving. You know what annoys me to no end by as a black man and as a teacher? What annoys me to no end by watching all these quote-unquote black people excuse the same things that have the black community circling the drain. By I teaching years and watching black people and black parents keep doing the same wrong cultural things. And then these educated black people come and tell the uneducated black people that all you're good to do that, you know, there's culture, you know, boy. The people discriminating against all you know. That is why all you're down there. Come now, man. No, you're down there because you don't tell your child revise. You're down there because when your child come home, you let them drive. There are cultural differences. There are cultural things that need to change. And if they don't change, you wouldn't get help. And you'll keep begging everyone to give you a leg up instead of bringing yourself up.
Yeah, I
Believe in that, right?
Yeah, I could tell that you have strong inclination towards individual responsibility, Nathan. I just wanted to ask you two questions, right? First is, do you think, and I know this is a kind of like obvious question, but I just want to hear your responses, right? Do you think systemic racism currently exists in the United States?
What do you mean by systemic racism?
Systemic racism towards black people as in institutions such as colleges, universities, certain job professions would favor white people with the same merits as black people in a systemic way.
I would say no to systemic, but yes to socialized.
Okay, fair. And you would say yes to socialized and no to systemic because it has more nuance and more individual responsibility there. Like what I mean is obviously black people don't have problems in the banks the same way that they did, and like institutions like that. But the reason I saying socialized is because it happens on more like a smaller scale.
Not a smaller scale. It could happen on a very wide scale. As in, let me give an example. Systemic would be taxis. The taxi organization has a policy that no more than 2 black men allowed in the car at a time. And that's policy. That's systemic. What I will call socialized is that the way that most taxi men are socialized is that they wouldn't allow more than 2 black men to jump in the car. Now, there's no official law, but it is socialized that way. So yes, there's a socialized level of racism. I agree.
Do you think that socialized level of racism will affect the way institutions operate?
Yes.
So therefore, well then, okay, so it's basically like a socialized form of racism that could lead to systemic effects. Right?
Systemic effects, yes.
Right. So would you say that the introduction of DEI, even though it doesn't place the person that will be the best for the job, it does act as a counterbalance to the residual effects of the systemic racism that presenting itself as socialized racism that still having effects on a systemic way to put black people forward regardless of the fact that they haven't improved the cultural effects that basically hampering them?
No. Here's why.
Okay.
Because if you artificially attempt to put someone in an elevated position while socially they are seen in that lower position, what you're going to do is exactly what Mr. Kirk said. You're going to cause people aren't going to magically think, oh, well, this person has gotten to there, so they're qualified. No, they're going to second guess your qualification.
I definitely empathize with that, but let me ask.
So what that's going to actually do, I think what that actually does is it exacerbates socialized racism.
Okay, so let's peel away to a specific example. Right? Let's zone into a specific example. Let's say there's a racist white man, right? There's a racist white man in an institution. You brought up the example of doctors before. Let's say this racist white man is a consultant in a hospital, right? And he, like as all racist white men are, they don't want to hire black people, right? And 2 resumes fall onto this man's desk. One being a black person, one being a white person. Both of them have the same
merits,
merits, and the black person gets the job because of DEI. Would you say that DEI was effective in that individual situation?
Effective in doing what?
In providing someone who is just as qualified as somebody else who would have been discriminated upon by that individual.
In providing a job for them? Well, yes, it was effective in providing a job for them, yes.
But your claim is that once that happens on a mass scale, it does more harm than good.
Exactly.
Okay, fair. Okay, I I just wanted to clarify your position in my mind. That was the purpose of my question.
Great. And
Excellent question, Sean.
And I have no qualms to identify that and show it. And I think in the individual, yes, the person would get a job. But what job would they get? You get a job under a racist man that is forced to hire you. Do you think that would make him less racist or more racist?
Just now, but on the same point,
Wait,
to the same point, I agree.
wait, hold on. Let me respond because he was asking me. I don't believe that I would make him more or less racist. I think that man will sustain his racism. However, it puts the black man in a position he may have a hard time in that job, but you don't know what that black person's goals are, and you don't know how that position could potentially propel his career. So these are very These are very nuanced questions.
What was that phrase that slipped in there?
What?
Yeah, why she slipping that and she in a relationship? Anyway.
I could just ask this to Sean though. If two persons are qualified on the same level.
Let me just say one thing. I am not advocating for DEI, by the way. I was literally just asking these questions to clarify.
Yeah. I liked your question. Your questions brought up good information.
Sean, is this: if two of them have having the same qualifications, they are the same merit or whatever. What would be the problem? Just now wait till I ask my question. What would be the issue if you did hire the white person? They both have the same qualifications.
No, well, this is taken into consideration the context of me actually prefacing my whole statement by saying the guy was a racist. So it wouldn't be any issue if the guy wasn't a racist. But remember, racism is prejudice, discrimination, and antagonism to any form of people. If somebody have a preconceived notion about somebody because of their skin color or their race, that is no longer about merit. The purpose of me giving that example with them having the same merit wasn't to showcase his discrimination, but I was trying to showcase how subtle prejudice could affect even merit. That was the purpose of me framing that.
And that's why I started off by saying, Sean, I agree there is socialized racism. I think in Trinidad and Tobago, there's an enormous amount of socialized racism. I think in the protective services, the balance of Afro to Indo was a form of socialized racism. I think on picking football teams, we see socialized racism. I think certain companies in their hiring practices obviously have some socialized racism going on there. The thing is, I don't think you make systemic policy moves to undo socialized problems. That's not going to work like that. I don't think you make.
Should be done.
What you said, Sean?
I'm asking it from a systemic point of view. You think nothing should be done?
No.
You should just make it as equal as possible, and not try and impose any counterbalance privilege to any minority group whatsoever, or afford them any luxuries due to past discrimination. You think that should just be done from a cultural standpoint and an individual standpoint?
I think everyone should be given an equal chance to reach the same spot. Work it on merit base. Now, as for helping those, I think as a society, because I am not against help, I think we should. As I said, I'm a teacher. I teach free classes for those who can't afford it. And I think that's what you do. You don't try and lift people and put them into the position to try and undo the effects. You try and give people the fishing skills, as it were. You try and push them into that so that they go there. Because historically, I know some of you who are more on the left-wing side may not like the guy, but he is very good at what he does. Dr. Thomas Sowell wrote a book on the effect of discrimination against minority populations. And the reality is, in most societies, minority populations that were discriminated against actually excelled on top of the majority populations. because the discrimination often causes them to become more industrious. And one of his more controversial statements, to go back to the general crux of the matter we're discussing with the murder of the guy, one of his controversial statements that he said black families did better before the 60s, 80 years ago. That was kind of the point he was making. Even during the horrible discrimination, which wasn't a good thing, many of those black families actually turned inward and excelled and were on a high trajectory, in fact, closing most gaps. And what you realize looking statistically is that when Mr. LBJ came in and said, well, I'm going to make these niggers vote for us for the next 300 years, and he decided he was going to really help the niggers, that you saw that closing of the gap all of a sudden do so.
No, but it's true. And you know what's funny? You know what? Go ahead, Nash.
Yeah, Nathan, I just have one more question as you brought back up the Charlie Kirk thing. You think he have any racial presuppositions at all in his mind that inform his ideologies?
100. Well, wait. I wouldn't go and inform his ideologies yet because I don't know that. I would say 100% he has racial presuppositions.
Okay.
Everyone, here's how I believe. Here's how it's obvious. Everyone has racial presuppositions. About 95% of people marry within their race. Amber, go ahead.
No, yeah, but that's okay, hold on. Like the pre-conscious bias towards like attraction, it definitely have racial presuppositions there, right? But I think that once it doesn't reach into a discriminatory fashion or antagonistic fashion, it comes from more tribalistic mindset and is understandable to a specific degree. However, I'm not talking about something that's subtle. I'm talking about something a bit more obtuse, a bit more nefarious, a bit more Machiavellian. I am asking you if you think Charlie Kirk has racial presuppositions that inform not only like his personal attraction or romantic beliefs. I'm talking about his actual nationalist views. I'm talking about those sort of things. Even the way how he might, and this is outside the racial domain too, like I've seen him use the Bible, weaponize scripture to facilitate his political ideologies. I've seen him do these kind of things, though. You know?
So I can kiss you on the mouth.
And I can kiss him.
Why would you want to do that? That's crazy, Sean. Oh, that's crazy, Sean. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Midnight in truth, eh?
Anyway.
I want to tell all you, Nathan, what did I say?
I'll getting heated in this place.
1 minute after midnight, 1 minute exactly.
Who was the is Amber self who jumping with some mouth squeeze?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
Up till now I don't even know where that came out from. I
think Ange wanted to talk.
Because I think any kind of fundamentalism, like whether it be racist fundamentalism, evangelical Christian fundamentalism, I think these things are nefarious in nature. I think they.
What do you consider fundamentalism? What do you consider fundamentalism in that context?
Rhetoric and weaponizing that kind of rhetoric is very divisive now.
What do you consider fundamentalism?
I don't believe he should have died because I think it's very fascistic to have somebody killed on like a platform where they basically going to have like political discourse. But I do believe his ideologies were damaging. You understand?
Which one of his ideologies were damaging?
Speaking on supporting gun violence while he was shot.
Especially to the fact of using religion. I didn't like that at all either.
How did he use religion to support his fascist ideologies?
But it would be naive of us to say that someone that plays in the domain of ideas, that has the level of influence that he's have, does not incite people to feel mobilized in taking actions that can be detrimental to the society. Now, once you're playing in politics,
which of his ideologies were detrimental? Sean. You keep, everyone in the life keeps doing this. They come and they make a statement without proving it. He used the scriptures to he used the scriptures to back up his what?
His literal last words were God.
From his words, he publicly formed perception.
Okay, well, tell me the words, Sean, tell me the words he said that were thus. The scriptures he misused. Tell me those words.
So I can't say them verbatim. I could find the videos and DM you them.
Oh, well, you should have an idea of them. You maybe, just now, Amber, you maybe can't say them verbatim, but you have an idea. What's that?
I could give you one.
All right, Sean.
I don't like to misquote people.
Okay, well, we'll turn to Amber because Sean doesn't have the answer. Sean, well then, Sean, you should retract what you said because you can't back it up. Amber, let's hear you.
So one of them was, he said that to stone gay people, to stone people that are basically gender traitors, in other words. Because I don't know if you could see the word here, right? So he wanted us to go back to that type of biblical statement where people would stone people for having sexual relations with people of with the same sex.
You saw a clip with Charlie Kirk saying, we need to stone people for being gay?
Yes, he did. He also
No, he did not say that. He did not say that. If you look at the Cambridge, University debate, he constantly purports and he uses scripture to fuel his homophobic rhetoric, and he cherry picks those things, and then in that same argument, he was going up against a white dude who basically talked about how, like, if you wear a certain kind of linen in your suit and bringing up about crops and these sort of things, that these things are also referenced in the Old Testament to say that we should not be doing those things, and those people should also be stoned to death if they do those things. So the point I was trying to make is that, so I guess this one came back to my mind. He would cherry pick things from the Bible to purport specific socio-political ideologies that he have. But he, as I said, he
Clarify exactly what he said.
Yeah,
and again, from his words, the perception can be finalized.
Mm-hmm.
He used the verse from Leviticus concerning gays, homosexuals, whatever you want to call them. He said that was God's perfect law. And that is what he stands by. That's what he said.
He said, yes, I know exactly the clip they're talking about. But Abdul, wait, Ronnie. Abdul, is that God's perfect law?
I have no problem with it. I'm just saying that's what he said. I have no problem with it.
Oh yes, Sean. So just so you know, if you justify Charlie, you're justifying somebody taking out Abdul for the same reasons, eh? Just so you know. Because
Angie was here for a while.
Angie, sorry. Yes, Angie. We're looking to come to a close, so let me make sure we hear Angie out.
Okay, what I was going to ask was, what was your statement by saying that when Charlie said that black people did better before the civil rights movement?
Mm-hmm. What was my statement on that?
Yeah.
He was speaking about black families. Is it 70? I think it's in the 70s. I don't think it's exact 70. I think it could be higher than 70.
1960s.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm finished. Over 70% of black children in the US today are born into single-parent households. Single-parent households are one of the number one factors in failing, basically, nearly all measures. Black families were closer and more tightly knit and fell out less.
Stop you right there. Why would you think that was a fact that they were closer?
Because you can check the amount of children that were born out of wedlock and without their father in the home. And that was higher, two-parent households were higher in the black community than the white community. You understand?
I would say why they were more close as many black families stayed together, because as a means of survival. One, because racism was very high and they were also afraid of the whole racism system, and they had no freedom and opportunity to do much things. So as to say like staying in families was their only way of like, sticking together in that sense. You know what I mean?
Yes,
They were not given opportunities. By you saying that, there was no systematic racism in universities in America. That's like you're
I'll finish.
everything. I don't know why you're so blind into believing that racism is not a broad or big topic in America when it really is, and it affects a lot of individuals. As I have many friends who go to universities in America who are black people and face racism every single day. It could be the littlest thing. Just because of your skin color, you are treated differently.
All right, wait.
Are we supposing?
Go ahead, Trini, you really ain't talk much.
No, but are we supposing that black families could only stay together when the pressure is on? So we say that black families cannot stay together when they have opportunities, when they have money, when they have a level of freedom. We are stating that black people cannot organize themselves.
Are you so vexed?
Be like parliamentary. So black people can't organize themselves unless the pressure is on. That is what is being supposed in this statement. This is crazy. This is crazy.
I'm not saying that.
Let me just now, Ange, before.
No, this is an implied statement. This is an implied statement.
Let me just before anybody go on, let me answer Ange what she asked me and answer or Sarah what she said in the chat there. So Ange, I never said racism doesn't exist. I specifically told Sean I do believe there is socialized racism, of course, because I think that's human nature. Now, if we're talking about a good thing with the families, I said earlier, if you were listening, in the research done by Thomas Sowell, that is actually true what you said. The black families were closer knit because of the difficulties they faced. And if they followed that trajectory, remained at that kind of stage in their cultural upbringing, they would have far exceeded where they are now. The issue is, at some point in time in the 50s or 60s, it seems, something changed, where black families that once had a higher co-parenting, parents together raising their children rate, plummeted to the lowest. Something caused that. And you can't say that discrimination caused it when the family was better when they were more discriminated against.
But can we also understand that they were under Jim Crow laws and racial segregation in those days? Wait.
Yes, this is true.
Trini, I'm not talking to you. Nathan.
Yes, I listen. Yes.
Can we agree that they were living under Jim Crow laws and racial segregation in those times? Can we agree?
Yes.
Okay, so don't you think that was one of the reasons why you believe that the marriages were better and all this type of stuff because of the type of laws that they were under?
So, Jim Crow recommended black families marry?
No.
Yes. No. Let the white man enslave us again so we can get back some black families, people. Come on, let's get it on. What's going on, bro?
So Amber.
Ronnie, and whoever else wants to be under that should go back to that.
So Amber, wait. I want to know what you're saying, Amber. I want to know what you're saying.
I agree. So
Amber, I just want to understand. Amber, I just want to understand what you're telling me.
All are the slave
Amber, pause now. Amber, you know, listen.
I agree with slavery. What did I say? I ain't talking about slavery for the whole night.
Go back to slave.
Amber, you listen.
It'd be crazy how people get roofed and stuff.
Hey. Amber, pause. Amber. Right, good. So, you're saying the black families were kept together by Jim Crow. And once the discrimination ended, they were able to really do what they want. And what black families really wanted was to destroy their familial structures. Is that what you're saying, Amber?
That is not what I'm saying, no.
Explain it to me again then. How could Jim Crow...
Listen, right? What at the statement that I said, that you're trying to compare the times then and the times now. You can't do that because the times then were under different circumstances,
So
right?
why then is the black family being destroyed? Angie, why then, okay, it was different. Why then is the fatherless rate going up to 70%? What is causing that?
I would say because of influence of people in the black community and less education.
So the black people, wait, just now, we getting somewhere. So people in the wait, Angie, we going back and forth. So the people in the black community are less educated now than they were during Jim Crow and discrimination.
No, I'm not saying that they're less educated. I'm saying
So
that
how is the decrease in education causing that?
study, having a family or stuff like that? Would you? And half of the reasons why most people leave family or get divorced due to different circumstances, not only like I get mixed up. You know what, Takeaway? Because at this point, I don't know why you just agreed with Charlie. I don't understand that he's just a bad person. Where was his energy?
Y'all are gonna debate it.
Yo, Nate.
But first to begin with, right, the civil rights had nothing to do with black families. Let me just get that out of the way. They were two different things.
Nobody never say that. We are talking about the simple fact. That's not what we're talking about. We are talking about the simple fact that a comprehensive study was done. This is crazy, bro.
Family and coexistence.
You want to know what the civil rights? Amber, do you?
Family and civil rights have nothing to do with
Amber, do you want Amber? Just now, Trini. Amber, you want to know what the civil rights had to do with families? Do you want to know?
Give me your opinion on it, I guess.
The civil rights enacted and followed up by what they called it. I forget the name LBJ had for it. I forgot the name he had for it. The civil rights followed up by LBJ's policies sought to help black people by giving black women housing and money as long as a black father wasn't in the house.
True.
Do you know that, Amber?
Yes, I do.
So do you understand how that can have an influence, or you don't?
I understand how that can have an influence, but how does civil rights coexist with?
Let me go in with bed now, boy. I'm trying waiting. I just went through the thing, Amber.
Civil rights and families have nothing to do with each other.
Okay, that was.
Yeah, Ronnie. Everybody, let's give our closing. Let's go there. On that note.
Okay, so by that stance, Ethan,
Yeah.
we would have to say that Malcolm X was right.
I always say this, Abdul. But Abdul, you know I'm pro Malcolm. I am more pro Malcolm than MLK.
Yeah, I could see this.
And Malcolm was the original one who said the same thing Charlie is saying, that this civil rights thing is a bad idea. What it's doing is taking the black community and forcing them into the white community. The black community is already struggling. So you know what you did? You forced them under the white community. That's not what he wanted. That was a bad idea. And Malcolm said the same thing. And now someone saying that in modern times is considered racist.
Nathan, what was the alternative?
What was the alternative?
By yourself. And I agree with segregation. By
Black Wall Street.
But Malcolm was arguing segregation.
Black communities. Elevate your community. It's not only Malcolm was arguing that since Marcus Garvey was arguing that since the break of the century. Marcus Garvey. And then only buy this nonsense from white liberals and go on running underneath to stay in an under society. So you remain in an underclass. You could never get above. And you happy for that. You hold on to the coattails of LBJ. Yes, boss, pay us all the way to continue being poor people in the society.
I
I don't agree with the LGBTQ community.
I didn't say LGBT. LBJ is Lyndon B. Johnson. I'm not talking about the LGBTQs. I'm talking about LBJ, the president of the US that enacted a lot of those laws.
Okay,
You do
I just
understand
say
that?
I'm in agreement with the LGBTQ community.
Let's wind down. We're all closing off. Angie, would you like to have a last say? Angie?
We're going on a bit. I don't think so.
And but Angie ended kind of upset. I feel Angie vexed with me.
To your point, back to what you saying that black people's and with the whole
Apologies, YouTube. The battery died over on TikTok there. I wonder if I can get a charger in time to dive back in. I seen somebody reading Chat GPT there. Somebody got into the Chat GPT.
Who's next?
My battery had died there. My battery had died. I hear somebody was on Chat GPT or something, sir.
Yeah, I would just like to say that but in America, it treading a very sticky ground. If these kind of things could happen at political events or events where someone is coming out to bring up forward their ideas, I think it's reprehensible that the internet has actually sensationalized and glorified this man's murder, right, in front of his family. I think it's absolutely horrendous, right? And I don't believe that his ideologies would how to say this? The man never overtly incite violence, and if he is to inflame somebody on a far right wing ideology of fascism movements and these sort of things, he should not be held accountable for that, because the way his rhetoric was spewed was not one of hate, right? People just want to say that he used to spew hate speech, but he never used to spew hate speech. People used to hate the speech I used to spew, and that's very different things, right? And what I would say lastly and most importantly, free Palestine. Yeah.
Free Congo. Free the Christians in Nigeria.
Free Congo. Free Charlie Kirk.
But he can't be free.
Now, he's the most free right now. Into the arms of the Savior.
He's the most free right now.
Chenny, you're next.
I'm next. Well, here's what I'm saying, right? I'm going to be very radical in my speech here tonight.
What's new, Trini? Trini, what's new?
Of course. So it has been said in this whole life, but I agree as well. Under the thumb of the white man, we have gotten the best black productivity, the best black success possible. So back under the thumb of the white man, we need to go in order to get black success.
I can I'm just disconnecting you one time.
I rifle up me know what all that.
You know what? Let me go on that after you. I enjoy being a dictator, so it was lovely.
Abdul, Charlie Kirk would hate you though. He's a Muslim, eh?
He don't matter dislike me.
He didn't hate. He didn't hate that.
I am pro-Palestine, pro-Sharia. So he can never like me. We are two different ends of the spectrum.
But you know, Abdul, the truth is, you all may have found way more common ground than you would find with the people that hate him.
No, I said I didn't disagree with everything he said.
JFKL, you need to be in the lives more often. Abdul's stance isn't unknown. He has the solution to theft. There will be no more theft.
Let me just close this myself and then Abdul, you go next, and Nathan. First thing first, like, I don't know if Angie's still here. I'm really sorry if I said anything, you know. But you could always tell the weakest of the liberal talkers, because when Sean was talking, nobody said anything. When Angie was talking, everybody was trying to assist because she was weak. I understand. Read up. You do your research and then you come back and
We are pissed in the comments.
On this live, we're not like mean or anything. Like, I know people like to feel like, we're not being mean, we're just normal. Everybody think I just talk to Trini, I want to talk to them, I talk to Abdul, I want to talk to them when I read. So, you know, no bad blood. Well, yeah, enjoy the night. I remember next week Thursday, the dictator will be back. No, he was not. I don't think Sean was emotional. I think Sean had some good points. Sean, you had some very good points. I don't agree with anything you said. And I think at this point in time, I was supposed to ask Amber, do we no longer teach children sticks and stones may break my bones, but words would do me anything? So they take that and go in on their bed. Yeah, on your own life, you have a problem with how I run my life. This is my life at this point.
Sean, if I were to give a gauge, Sean had the best points out of the disagreeers, eh?
Of course. Sean, clock it.
Thank you guys. I appreciate that a lot. And Nathan, if you didn't watch it already, I think you should watch Charlie Kirk debate in Cambridge.
I did. I watched a lot of his content.
Yeah, same.
No,
same.
well, to be honest, Sean is not a liberal by the way. Sean is just a debater.
If you look at my content, you will see that I'm just a very versed.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he's not there.
Let me close
Makes
up
a lot of sense.
come on the people internet, right? This
What was that?
let me close up and come on the people
Oh my
internet.
God. I told you missed 9/11.
I must say, I really enjoyed this live, guys.
Ronnie, what do you mean by that?
Listen, the man died on his belief, he died on his growth, he literally died with the words in his mouth.
Ronnie just said it.
The Second Amendment, defending pro-gun, literally died like that. He's a martyr to his cause. I don't see nothing wrong with being a martyr to your cause. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, Abdul, we know that too. Abdul, we know that too.
The man died doing what he believed in, and you know, for that, since there is a God and he believed there and whatever, I think he should be fine.
Right? Free Palestine, long live the resistance.
So, not free Congo, Abdul.
So, you lie?
No free for Congo.
No, Congo don't matter, because Congo don't matter. If it was Muslims, it would not matter. Let's go next.
Ways.
Well, I mean, it have Muslims in the Congo getting some machetes and all, so let me know go down that road.
But
Oh, come on, you don't talk about the one.
Ronnie, we closing. I would like to know, Ronnie, a personal question. What you meant by Abdul missed 9/11?
9/11, ask the CIA and Israel about 9/11.
Yeah, I know, right? If it's not a police officer,
Listen. Always, every now and again, always throwing some out of hand things in this place. I just hope the CIA and FBI or whoever is ignore we, because you know they Trinidad it and comes causing attention to come on we country, they might start to look at we lives. Always real out hands. He missed 9/11. Out of hand. On
9/11, like how, like our prime minister. Watch now. When was the coup? I don't remember. When was the coup? And it wasn't July or something. So
Yeah.
When did she give a speech about the coup and how terrorism and all kind of thing She didn't say, but she come in 9/11 to talk about remembering 9/11.
Because she's on the payroll.
He's a cunt, boy. Like, what is a fed up? Anyway, that's all I have to say. Abdul, pick up you.
People, it was nice. It was nice. Thursdays is when we talk. We come on Thursdays and we talk. Just like this. You could disagree. You could tell me you think I'm dumb. Generally speaking, we don't cut off people like that. Ronnie is the one who is cut and mute. I don't even mute, so generally it's a nice conversation. I like the conversation. I think you gain stuff from this. And I actually am in the group with Charlie, where I think the more you talk, the less chance you have of having to do something else to get your way out there. We could talk and maybe I could convince you all of something instead of having to out your lights to get you to do what I want. That's more of where I am in that camp. And none of you have convinced me otherwise. I would urge those, and this is a good thing. This is a good thing for Ange and Amber. I would like to have a longer conversation with Amber, because I'm certain, Amber, once we started the conversation, you were going to walk down right into a corner and end up just like Angie. I'm telling you, because your reasonings were going down that direction too. But I like the talk nonetheless. I'll be here again tomorrow. Yes, I'll be here tomorrow. We are here every weekday, Monday to Friday, by and large. Honestly, my original starting time was 9. That passed. 9:30. It doesn't always happen like that. So, you know now, around that time. Amber, we go talk. This is to bait you in. Yes, Abdul, I got it. I just didn't shoot the call yet, but I got it. That is blood brother or Aki brother. But yeah, this debate, Amber, to make you come back again. So the next time we'll have this discussion. I don't feel you'll succeed. Well, that's safe, Abdul, that's safe. Most likely from next week. So I'd make the call tomorrow. I'd call tomorrow. Alright. Latest people, hold it down, stay well, stay good, stay inside, outside, they little sketchy. Yeah, I banking on that, Amber. Come again. We sometimes tend to even, you see. I like that. I'd like that. Read up all you can. If I'm wrong, show me where I'm wrong. And I'll get better at it. Peace, people. I'm out. Bye.